It is now my honor to introduce Sean Nolan, a graduate of the John Carroll class of 1990, who will deliver the keynote address. Sean's distinguished career in the pharmaceutical industry includes leadership at both private and publicly held companies. He currently serves as the chairman of the board of Encoded Therapeutics. Sean has a passion for helping others. Because of his work and dedicated leadership, countless patients and families facing daunting genetic disorders have been offered hope for a brighter future. We are incredibly proud of Sean and how he has continued to embrace the Jesuit ideals he learned at John Carroll throughout his career. We are honored to have him with us today, so please join me in welcoming Sean Nolan from the class of 1990.
Good evening. I would like to thank President Johnson and the John Carroll University Board of Directors for inviting me to deliver the commencement address for the 2020 and 2021 graduate student classes. It's a true honor and privilege to be here with you. Congratulations to you all. The sacrifice and commitment that you have made to attend the JCU graduate program is quite significant, both in terms of money and your precious time. I know that the vast majority of you work in addition to attending the program, and I'm sure there are many other obligations to juggle, including personal relationships, families, children, etc. You have accomplished a major goal, and you should be rightly proud. My name is Sean Nolan. I'm a 1990 graduate of John Carroll University with a bachelor's degree in biology. My wife and I live just north of Chicago, and we have 4 children ranging from 17 to 25 years of age. For the last 30 years, my career has been spent in the pharmaceutical biotech arena. My first 14 years were at a large healthcare company, but the last 16 years have been focused on starting and building innovative biotech companies. I've held a range of positions, starting as a pharmaceutical sales representative to most recently serving as CEO at Avexis, a startup biotech in the cutting-edge field of gene therapy. In these next few short minutes, I would like to share 3 things that I have learned thus far in my work career. And I hope, as you reflect on our time today, that it may provide helpful perspective and consideration to you as you embark on the next steps in your work-life journey. First, find your passion. Think about it. Most people work 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day for 30 to 50 years. We spend more waking hours with coworkers than family. In my experience, many people literally hate what they do, but they're either content with the pay, afraid of change, or simply resigned to grinding it out. This results in frustration, stress, and takes a major toll, both physically and mentally. My suggestion is to find an industry and a career that you find interesting, that makes you proud, and fulfills and motivates you. Think of the bigger picture and not just a job position. For example, you might one day be the CFO of Tesla, but you don't just make cars, but rather you're transforming the future of transportation and reinvigorating the environment. Personally, in my field of therapeutic development, whether I was in sales, marketing, or clinical development roles, I always focused on the view that my work was to improve the lives of patients and families suffering from a severe disease or condition. As CEO at Avexis, I worked to instill this passion and big picture view into the company culture. We talked about it constantly. We brought parents of children in to speak to employees about how spinal muscular atrophy or SMA, which was the disease we were working to treat, impacted their daily lives. It was heart-wrenching, but motivational. I could tell our people were proud of our mission and proud to be part of something so consequential. The passion was palpable, and the team worked tirelessly to move the program forward and make it available for patients in need. The product was eventually approved, and children that historically became paralyzed as the devastating disease rapidly progressed and died prior to reaching 2 years of age are now living normal, full lives as a result. Avexis was acquired by a very large multinational pharmaceutical company. And during the transition period, a top executive from the acquiring company was at our manufacturing facility. He was talking to the team there about his vision of the future. He looked at one of our engineers and asked, "What do you do?" He meant, "What job do you do?" The engineer stood up and said, "I save kids' lives. What do you do?" I'm not going to lie, that was awesome. Later in the day, the executive told me, "I never would have gotten that answer in my company. You have magic here. Find your passion." The second thing is values matter. Find a cultural fit. Have integrity. Be honest. Treat others with respect. Do the right thing. Sounds like something your mother would say about how to comport yourself in your personal life, but it's very true in the business world. A company's view and emphasis of values can certainly affect corporate value. Negative examples include stories such as Enron, Tyco, Wells Fargo, and Volkswagen. A lack of core values can be insidious at first, but over time leads to an inexorable deterioration that results in corporate value being destroyed or unrealized. Fortunately, many leaders see real value in the culture of doing things the right way. One of my favorite stories about culture is from Theo Epstein, who at the time was general manager of the Red Sox. He'd already won 2 World Series titles, but they were struggling this particular season and missed the playoffs. He walked into the clubhouse after the last game had just finished, and he heard his star player say that he didn't care that they missed the playoffs because he only got paid for 162 games. Theo quietly walked out and began to think about culture and how this supposed leader was negatively affecting the team. This player's money was more valued than championships. When Epstein went to the Cubs, he was very focused on building the team around a positive culture. He wanted talented young players who were driven to succeed, but were also good teammates, focused on winning championships versus personal gain. Theo transformed the Cubs from the lovable losers to World Series champions for the first time in 108 years. And he did it with a focus on culture. During my first month as CEO of Avexis, I had to go out and raise money to fund the company in advance of our planned IPO. I sat in the office of the lead investor of a major mutual fund company, and I was accompanied by one of the original investors in my company. The mutual fund investor looked at me and said, "What is the number one concern you have that keeps you up at night?" I told him it was manufacturing. No one on the planet at this time had been able to scale gene therapy to manufacture quantities needed to supply the world. Nobody. But I told him why I thought I could make it happen and how I was thinking about doing it. I was honest. He told me right then and there, not only would he invest, but he would lead the round. With him on board, the rest of the syndicate fell into place quickly. We were oversubscribed with top-tier investors. Later, The original investor that I was with informed me that I shouldn't have told the truth because I could have scared off the potential new investor. Months later, I saw the mutual fund investor and asked him what he would have done if I didn't answer the question as directly as I did. He said, "Sean, I already knew the answer. If you hadn't told the truth, I wouldn't have invested." At Avexis, I put values at the forefront of everything we did. We included values in our hiring process, performance reviews, and bonus payouts. Part of your compensation was based on how you got the result. I can't tell you how many people came to Avexis because of the values and culture. We hire great people as a result. P.S. During my years at Avexis, we raised over $1 billion with top-tier, loyal investors. Values matter. Culture matters. The third thing is this: be tenacious. Never quit. Solve problems. Keep moving. And fight to reach your goals. You all inherently have this trait by virtue of you being seated here tonight. You've had to overcome many obstacles to reach this point. I'm sure there were many days when the coursework, on top of the regular work, and family obligations seemed too much to bear. But you persevered, you endured, and you delivered. My appeal to you is to always keep that trait at the forefront for others to see. Tenacity separates the performance of good from great. It's motivational for others to see, and it becomes part of the culture. You can, the team can, achieve incredible outcomes. A few years back, I asked the parents of one of the children in an early study of ours to speak to all the employees so they could hear firsthand what our therapy could do for patients. Afterwards, I spoke to the young father and asked him if there was anything that I could do for him. He said, "Sean, when my son was born, I was told he was going to die in a matter of months. But he was able to be enrolled in your study and receive your drug. And we just celebrated his second birthday. So I ask that you make sure no parent ever has to be told that their baby is going to die from SMA. So don't quit. Keep fighting and get this drug approved across the world." Now that was a pep talk. Today, there are only 2 gene therapy products approved and commercialized in the world. Ours is one of them. We had lots of challenges, issues, and problems, but we never quit. We kept fighting, knocking down barriers and moving forward. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. We saved lives. In closing, I hope you found my remarks to be neither altruistic nor overly simplistic. It's truth, based on my experiences and observations. The world is a tough place, and what we've experienced over the last year tested our resolve to the core. But we're emerging on the other side of this pandemic, and we're stronger. As Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. We're almost there. And then the future history is waiting to be written. The next chapters are yours to write. Be leaders. Companies need you. The country needs you. The world needs you. Find your passion, build your culture, and fight on. Thank you.